Hey guys, welcome to Brickstars. In today's video, we're going to be building a custom, updated LEGO Bull Knights faction. This is a faction that really was underdeveloped by LEGO and we want to bring it back. So we're going to go through some of the history of the faction and stay till the end because we've got a special surprise as well in the video. So first, let's take a quick look at a history of the Bull Knights. The Bull Knights were part of the Knights Kingdom, a castle theme introduced in the year 2000, and it featured the battle between the Bull Knights and the Royal Knights. I often call them the Lion Knights. They're a slightly modified shield from what we've seen in the past. And this was an interesting castle lineup. You can see there was a couple lion sets and a couple bull sets. But really the castle was King Leo's castle. So the lions got the bigger share of the sets. And what's really interesting is they had these comics and they had a lot of little sets, but not a ton of big sets. And especially when looking at the Bull Knights, they only got a handful of sets. You can see most of their sets were these small kind of polybag builds, but I would say they did have two what I would consider legitimate sets. One was this catapult and then this kind of Bulls attack type set, which honestly left us LEGO fans wanting more. I think this is a very underdeveloped faction. I think it could have expanded a lot more because like the Wolfpack, like the Forestmen, these were really kind of the big enemy of the Castle King and Knights. So I think we could have used a bit more of these type of sets. So I do think this era of LEGO, the sets were a lot simpler, but you can see there was a lot of play features and they added to that with the comics and cartoons throughout the instructions and branding for these sets. Just looking at some of the instruction art, you can see all those little play features they had. And even with just 3 different torsos and minifigures that the Bull Knights had, they were able to add a fair bit of variety. Now, what was really cool about this theme is they had chrome parts scattered throughout different sets that ultimately, if you collected, you'll see here in a little bit, you could build a full chrome minifigure. And they did feature some interesting parts as well, like their shield, and they also had a flag piece as well, which not a lot of factions received. So that was kind of a surprise. And you see each of these individual small sets had one of the chrome pieces that if you put together, you could have a fully decked out Bull Knight covered in chrome. Chrome was maybe a little bit of a weird choice to use for them because I always imagine them kind of like rustic outlaws that didn't really have a whole lot, but to see that they have nice shiny armor is kind of cool. So looking at the minifigures, like I touched on, you only get 3 torso prints really, but I think they were all pretty nice. And honestly, compared to some other factions like the Wolfpack and the Forestmen, who were kind of seen as the bad guys in the LEGO world, to get 3 different ones for these guys is actually more than we got for the other factions. And it's interesting, they used the original LEGO Dragon Master helmets. Here you'll see the minifigures, what they kind of look like in real life. Again, kind of simpler prints, but not too bad. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to update these minifigures using some of the original torsos, and you're going to see how we did. So starting off with the main character, Cedric the Bull, we're going to show you our update to him. Starting off with the legs, you can see we've used printed legs and printed arms. The arms are from the Dungeons and Dragons wave. Again, great medieval minifigure parts throughout that wave. The legs are, I believe, from our Kingdoms lineup, one of the Joust minifigures there. And using the original torso, I think it ties perfectly together, quite honestly. The touches of gold with the gold shield on the torso and the little bit of red at the top of the neck we thought worked perfectly with a red cape. And this face is honestly one of my favorite LEGO faces. It's from the Bandit collectible minifigure, the Western Bandit, but I just think it looks so sharp. His eyes, the mustache, the grin, the goatee, it works perfect in a Kingdom's castle setting. And we've given him the bull shield here. So I think this is a pretty sharp looking minifigure. I think You can see here comparing him to the original Cedric the Bull. He's got kind of the same almost vibe to him, but modernized. Next up, we're going to try using a torso that isn't from the original Bull Knights, and this is from the Vikings lineup, but we're using the legs from the Vampire Knight from the collectible minifigure series, and we're using the head from maybe one of the most popular collectible minifigures in recent times, the Wolfpack Beastmaster, a fan favorite. So we just love how he turned out in this application. Here you see, even though he doesn't have a wolf, he's still calling or howling at his companions. So I really like how this minifigure turned out with the black and the dark gray. I think they tie well together, and the use of the cape is really one of my favorite things. The Star Wars Mandalorian capes that I think the first time I saw that was in one of Goldfire's videos. So shout out to Goldfire for showing us that cape technique. I love the narrow capes, how they work with these minifigures, and especially when they're archers, I think it looks pretty sharp. So big fan of this one. The black again tying nicely with the gray. And let's move on to the next minifigure. This guy here we intended to be a pair with the next minifigure. You'll see we kind of thought they'd be two brothers in the group, and this guy's the goofy, unserious, kind of almost crazy guy. So you can see even his face is a little wild, but I do like how the Wolfpack Beastmaker legs paired with this torso, and in this case we've just kept the original arms to differentiate him a bit from his brother that you'll see in a little bit. But I think the spear here works pretty good. They're kind of like guards, spearsmen type folk, and this helmet piece is also pretty unique because it's not one of the helmets that we see with castle minifigures nowadays. It's really old school, but I think it works pretty good even in modern days. So really nice how he turned out. Again, kind of the funny looking face, and the torso ties nicely with the legs. And before we move on to his brother, just a reminder guys, if you like these type of videos, please hit the subscribe button because it tells us to keep making them. And here's his brother. So he's more of the serious brother, more actually kind of sinister in nature, but we think he turned out pretty good as well. He's very similar. Other than the face, this minifigure uses more detailed arms. And honestly, if we had a second set of these arms, maybe I would have put it on the goofy brother as well. But sometimes it's nice to have a bit of variety and not have them 100% the same. These arms I think work pretty good because the brown kind of strap pieces add a lot of detail. So what's also interesting is you'll see how he compares to the original minifigure. The torso works even in this modernized setting. Unfortunately, we didn't have the third Bull's Knight torso, which has that touch of red. So to compensate for that, we've used this minifigure that has a lot of dark red color on him. The torso is from the Prince of Persia lineup, and the legs are from the Viking series. And honestly, I think they work really good here because they have that touch of orange that you find kind of on the Bull's Knight shield. So the other aspect that we've included is the original Bull's Knight minifigure had an eye patch, so we've given this guy an eye patch. So even though he doesn't have the Bull's Knight torso, we think those elements pay a nice homage to the original figure. And the dark red and gray, again, classic Bull's Knight's colors, they work really well together here. So another minifigure that I think worked out pretty good. And to complete our minifigures, we thought we'd give them a little build. Here we've got this catapult that's very reminiscent of what the Bull Knights would have. We've used brown and dark brown colors here, and the black and dark gray elements to really represent the color scheme of the Bull Knights. Very simple, but we think it works. I love that horse cover headpiece at the front there, and you can see in comparison to 6032 it's definitely similar but modernized and different. So just a little small build to add to our minifigures and add some detail when we're taking photos of them. Let's take a look at some final shots of the whole crew together, starting off with the brothers. Here they are side by side. You can see the different arms actually kind of work pretty good, I think. And you'll see them next to the catapult as well. I think with the shield there, definitely these guys look like Bull Knights to me, and really makes me wish that LEGO would return this faction. And who knows, they've brought back the Forestmen, they've brought back the Wolf Pack, the Lion Knights, the Black Falcons. Maybe the Bull Knights are the next one. Even though they're a bit newer than some of those classic factions, I think they seem to be a fan favorite. I'm really pleased with the non-Bull Knight torsos, how they worked out and how they integrate with this faction. But I would say Cedric is probably, the updated Cedric is probably my favorite of the bunch. I just think those legs and torso work so well together. And all of them, the faces look pretty good. If you remember our Wolfpack video, we kind of made them look similar, but I do think these guys have their own unique characteristics as well. And now the surprise that we talked about earlier is really showing a theoretical Bull Knight with the updated Bull Knight shield. So this is something that LEGO's teased us a little bit with the minifigure prize idea set coming out. There was a fan vote on which faction should be brought back, and this was one of the 4 designs that was included. So we kind of took it to the next level and did a full redesign of a Bull Knights minifigure. So just giving you guys a little preview, we do have plans to redesign a full wave of Bull Knights minifigures, but we'll leave it at this one for now. And that's a wrap for our Bull Knights. Let us know in the comments below, would you like to see a return of the Bull Knights? What did you think of our custom minifigures and our redesign? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.